On the night of October 4th, 2019, the automated beacon at Halvan Rock Light activated for exactly 60 seconds, the same as it had every night for over a year, despite the fact that the last electrical service to the island had been formally disconnected in the spring of 1998. The Regional Maritime Authority logged it as an equipment fault. It was not an equipment fault. There was no equipment left to fault. Marcus D. Feller repaired boat wiring for a living. Bilge pumps, navigation panels, the occasional radar mount. He was 41, divorced, and worked out of a rented unit on Cannery Row in a town I'll call Ostwick Harbour. His weekends were usually spent replacing corroded terminals for men who owned nicer boats than they could afford. The Halvan contract came through a subcontractor with an address that later turned out to be a mail forwarding service. It paid well. Feller took it. The ferry captain, a man named Errol J. Pace, dropped him on the island at 7:12 on a Friday morning. He remembered the time because his logbook required it. He promised to return Sunday afternoon. Feller waved him off with a tool bag and a cooler and walked up the gravel path to a lighthouse that had been dark for 2 decades. The first thing wrong was the coffee. There was a mug on the desk in the keeper's office, half full, still warm to the touch. Feller assumed a caretaker had come through recently, though the dust on the floor showed only his own boots coming in. He noticed footprints leading out of the office and up toward the stairs. Wet, as if someone had come in from the rain. It had not rained in 9 days. The maintenance log sat open on the desk. Feller read it because that is what electricians do before they start. Entries stretched back to the 1970s in a tight, slanted hand. What stopped him was the recent pages. Ordinary notations. Cleaned second-order lens. Wick trimmed. Fog signal tested. Nominal. The most recent entry was dated the previous evening. Every page, every year was signed the same way. A.R. Coyle, keeper. Albert Rees. Coyle had kept Halvan Rock Light from 1961 until his death. He drowned off the North Landing in November of 1989. His body was recovered. There is a headstone. I have seen the photograph of it. At 10:17 that first night, the light came on. Feller was at the base of the tower checking the service panel, which hung open and empty, its copper long since stripped by scavengers. The bulb, he later told the one person he ever told, was not connected to anything. He watched the beam sweep out over the water for 60 seconds and then die. He checked his watch against the log. 10:17 exactly. The log had recorded that same time, to the minute, every night for months. The following account is reconstructed from Feller's own written statement and the records that survived. Some of it remains disputed. Saturday he worked through the day and tried not to think. At 10:17 he climbed to the lantern room to watch the light activate up close. It came, and out across the black water, at a bearing he estimated as northwest, another lighthouse answered. A steady sweeping beam from an island that appears on no chart, no survey, no satellite pass. He stood there while both lights turned in time with each other, 60 seconds, and then both went dark together. Feller wrote that he did not sleep after that. At 11:49 that night, he heard footsteps on the spiral staircase below him. Slow, deliberate. The iron treads carried sound clearly, and he counted the steps rising, one landing, then the next. He called out. No answer, only the climbing. When the footsteps reached the turn just below the lantern room, close enough that he should have seen a head appear, he shined his flashlight down the center of the spiral. The stairs were empty. The footsteps continued upward past him, unhurried, and stopped somewhere above his head, where there was nothing but the lamp and the glass and the sky. He found the last log entry the next morning. It was written in the same slanted hand. It was dated that Sunday. He had told no one he was coming, spoken to no one since Friday, and the entry read, "New man arrived Friday, good with wiring. He'll want to stay on. They always want to stay on." The ferry came at 1:38 Sunday afternoon. Errol Pace pulled up to the landing, cut the engine, and looked at Feller standing on the dock with his cooler and his tool bag. Pace's face, according to Feller, did something complicated. Then he said that no repairman had been scheduled for the island, that the authority had no contract on file, that he had come out only because a light had been showing from Halvan Rock the night before, and someone at the harbour office wanted it checked. Feller got on the boat. He did not argue, he did not go back. The subcontractor's number is disconnected. The contract file does not exist. Marcus Feller left Ostwick Harbour in the winter of 2020 and now services agricultural equipment somewhere inland, as far from open water as the geography of the state allows. He answered exactly one question when I reached him. He said the light at Halvan Rock still activates every night at 10:17. He knows this because the log is still being kept. He knows this because last month a new entry appeared in that same slanted hand, and it mentioned a writer who'd been asking questions.